So there were some sharp words today from Governor J.B. Pritzker directed at Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
The governor did not hold back on his disappointment after he suffered a rare defeat. He was unable to gather enough votes for a bill that he really wanted. Our political reporter Mary Nahearn joining us now. She spoke to Mayor Johnson today in a rare one-on-one.
Good evening to both of you. Yes, just when you thought all the Democrats, they agreed. Not so in Illinois tonight. The governor was pushing for a bill to regulate the hemp industry. It has turned out to be quite lucrative, and yet there are concerns it could be dangerous if in the hands of children. Without reaching out to the governor, the mayor behind the scenes helped block the bill, and the governor is not holding back.
I was tremendously disappointed.
Governor J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson at odds, more publicly than usual, while they've disagreed behind the scenes. Not quite like this.
He calls me whenever he needs to. He doesn't call very often. Maybe in the time that he's been mayor, he's called me perhaps 5 times.
Pritzker favored a bill to regulate hemp sales. It's becoming more easily available, found in cookies or drinks at convenience stores. But the mayor, as well as Speaker of the House Chris Welsh and the Black Caucus, helped block the governor's bill. Why?
We're all in agreement with regulation, particularly strict regulation around the hemp industry. Listen, I want to protect young people.
But to go against the governor and to already have this conflict this early on in the year, when you talk about state partners for education, will that not end up being a tough one to reconcile?
So there's no conflict. We both agree that we have to have strict regulations.
Pritzker says communication between he and the mayor is so poor that in December, the governor related, this is what happened.
Once in December, we by the way, scheduled calls, and then they didn't show up.
That caught State Comptroller Susana Mendoza's attention. She noted on social media, collaborating requires active engagement. Mendoza is mentioned as a possible 2027 mayoral candidate. I asked Johnson about his low approval poll numbers. Does the negative press bother you?
Oh, I don't particularly get moved by people's opinion of me. Here's what I was elected to do, was to stand up for working people.
Back to the hemp sales. That regulation bill, Pritzker says there were enough votes if the bill had been called for a vote. So where does it all go from here? Certainly, it's an odd way to start out the year as the mayor and the governor are publicly arguing. It's something we're going to keep an eye on.
And they have the school crisis as well to deal with. Okay.
A lot on the agenda, a little friction already.
Yes.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Thank you.
For the second day, former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan testified in his bribery and corruption trial. Today, he got into more details about his relationship with co-defendant Mike McLean. Madigan says he had a lot of contact with McLean over the years and continued that friendship until recently. Madigan also admitted he may have asked McLean for help finding work for as many as 10 to 20 people, including Eddie Acevedo. Madigan is accused of giving Acevedo 2 lucrative contracts that did not require him to do any work.
Chicago's mayor is responding to criticism from the governor. Yesterday, Governor Pritzker said Mayor Johnson does not have good relationships in Springfield due to a lack of communication. Today, the mayor defended his relationship with state leaders. NBC5's Patrick Fazio talked to the mayor.
There we go. During the reopening of a mental health clinic in Chicago's Roseland neighborhood, Mayor Johnson defended his efforts to get state help from Springfield.
This ideal of my relationships in Springfield, I will just say that they predate my time as mayor. And yes, we're going to continue to work hard to ensure that the people of Chicago and our interests are protected.
It comes a day after Governor Pritzker criticized the mayor for not working enough with Springfield.
The mayor of the city of Chicago and his staff, they don't reach out very often, and it seems like they don't have good relationships in Springfield, in part because they don't do the outreach that's necessary.
We asked the mayor about it. After Governor Pritzker said yesterday you don't have enough communication with Springfield and you don't have enough good relationships with Springfield, what do you say to that?
Well, I mean, in terms of how the state can show up on behalf of the people of Chicago, that is a healthy conversation. The last I checked, Chicagoans are residents of Illinois.
The governor also says the mayor has rarely called for help, especially with Chicago's billion-dollar budget deficit.
With regard to his budget, literally the last call that we got from them was in September, and then once in December, we by the way, scheduled calls, and then they didn't show up. The time that he's been mayor, he's called me perhaps 5 times.
Is the governor accurate when he says you've only reached out to him 5 times since you've taken office?
We've had a strong working relationship that allowed us to pull off one of the most, if not the most, memorable Democratic National Convention in the history.
The mayor did offer an invite to the governor to come visit Chicago.
And I probably do owe him an invitation to my home. He invited me to his home. My wife and I went there, and governor, of course, is always welcome to the west side of Chicago.
The vice president of the Chicago Teachers Union is defending the mayor, posting a message on X suggesting the governor's comments are racist. Patrick Fazio, NBC 5 News.
Thank you so much, Patrick.
The controversy over Mayor Brandon Johnson's status with the Chicago Teachers Union has taken a new turn. Ethical questions persist about the mayor's role in ongoing CTU contract talks. And now the city's Board of Ethics is weighing in, denying that their office ever advised the mayor on the issue. Political reporter Marianne Ahern is here now with more. Marianne?
Alex, the mayor says he's a member on leave from CTU, which means potentially he may benefit from the very contract the city is now negotiating. This was my first question to Mayor Johnson earlier this week. Let's start with a yes or no question. Is it proper to negotiate a CTU contract if, as a member on leave, you are going to benefit from that contract?
Well, I'm not going to benefit from the contract.
Officially, he has not resigned from CTU.
So I am on leave from Chicago Public Schools, but I'm not negotiating a contract. The Board of Education has that responsibility.
But with elected school board members joining next week, the mayor still appoints the majority of the school board. While the mayor's team suggested they were advised there were no ethical concerns, Steve Berlin, the executive director of the City Board of Ethics, denies he was ever asked for advice on the mayor's union status. Berlin tells NBC5, quote, "The Board of Ethics was not asked about on-leave arrangements with the CTU or CPS under the city's governmental ethics ordinance and has issued no opinions addressing this issue." William Quinlan is CPS CEO Pedro Martinez's attorney.
If he is on leave with the Chicago Teachers Union and has a relationship with the Chicago Teachers Union, he's on one side of the table and Chicago Public Schools is on the other.
Shortly after the mayor took office in June of 2023, Ben Felton, the CPS chief talent officer, said in a memo about the mayor's CTU status, he was, quote, concerned that could be a potential conflict of interest for the mayor to be an employee of an organization that he was overseeing.
Because at the end of the day, what we all want, as good public servants, what anyone wants is the best deal here.
David Greising with the Better Government Association.
The question for the mayor is, why do you need to maintain that status? How do you benefit? How does the city benefit?
The Civic Federation's Joe Ferguson also tells us Johnson's status with CTU is a very important question and one that is needed to be clarified. As for those elected school board members, they will be sworn in next week on January 15th. Allison and Alex.
Thank you, Marianne.